Something happened to you in this very moment. You carry in silence the feeling that a destiny far greater than the circumstances you live in today was sealed by a love you cannot yet see, but whose presence you can no longer ignore. There is a union between your path and a higher purpose that has already been approved, and the reason you are here is that the time has come for you to become aware of this seal. What I'm about to tell you is not for everyone. It is specifically for you who have felt the weight of isolation and yet have not abandoned your essence. In this encounter, you will recognize the 3 clear signs that this union with your destiny is underway. You will finally understand why your isolation was, in truth, a period of preparation, not abandonment. And before we finish, there is a declaration about your life, a confirmation of divine approval that will completely change how you see yourself from now on. Stay with me, because every layer we move through is a piece of this puzzle your spirit has already assembled, but your mind is still trying to decipher. You have been noticing waves of sudden peace that invade your day, even when everything around you seems chaotic or uncertain. It is as if, for a second, the noise of the world is silenced, and you can hear your own soul saying that everything will be okay. And there is also this silence around you, where many of the conversations that used to be part of your routine now feel empty, disconnected, as if you are on a different plane where the frequency is different. And this constant feeling of being watched over by something good, an invisible care that accompanies you, that keeps you from stumbling over things you never even saw, and that keeps you steady when exhaustion tries to overcome you. Attention!
There is a truth sealed by God for millennia, hidden until the end of times. It's no coincidence you are here. The signs are everywhere, and few are ready for this revelation. If you've ever felt that restlessness, that there's something deeper in the scriptures, this book is your key. But know this is the time. And the vault of the chosen reveals what God sealed for you. Within it, the 7 seals unveil the truth about being a chosen one and the eternal impact of this revelation. And the proof is here. Look how many minds are freed. Yours could be next. Secure your access now. Click the link in the comments or description and unveil these truths.
Take a deep breath with me now. Feel how the weight on your shoulders lifts as you realize these are not symptoms of loneliness, but signs that you are being prepared for what comes next. If at least one of these signs touched you, if you recognized this presence that accompanies you in the days of silence, type the number 888 in the comments. Your fingers typing those numbers are your spirit saying yes to this confirmation that has arrived. It is the smallest agreement, but it is real. It is the beginning of a new cycle of overflow in your life. Type 888 and come back here to me. Behind all of this, there is a pattern you have been following without knowing its name. You prepared yourself, you shaped yourself, and you remained faithful to your values. Even when no one was watching or applauding your effort, you acted like someone waiting for an honored guest in a courtyard that has been under renovation for years. For a long time, you thought that courtyard was empty, that no one would come, that all your work of cleaning and organizing was in vain. You swept the dry leaves, mended the fences, planted flowers in the hope that one day that place would be the setting for something grand. The truth is, the renovation was not for you to show off to the world. The renovation was to make your inner self a place worthy of receiving the approval that was already written in the stars. The courtyard is ready. The structure, which once seemed cold and lonely, now reflects the light of one who has finally understood that your value does not depend on the audience, but on the union that was celebrated on high. You were not being forgotten by the world. You were being reserved by divine love. If something inside you has just sealed itself, if the image of that finally renovated and ready courtyard fell into a place you cannot explain, type the words "I see" in the comments. Let the recognition seal where it has just landed. The act of typing those words makes the witness permanent in your own record. Type and come back here to me. This is the deepest layer, where you understand that the solution does not demand more effort, more struggle, or more frantic searching from you. The solution is the return to calm. It is the permission for what has already been approved to simply happen. You no longer need to pull ropes that are attached to nothing, nor present yourself to people who are never paying attention. Your only responsibility now is to keep your courtyard open, receptive, without the fear of being invaded or the need to close yourself off for protection. It is a softening of the soul, an unlearning of the defenses you built to survive storms that have already passed. If something in this message confirmed what your spirit already knew, let your like be your amen without words. Not as a metric, as a silent agreement that what was named here was named correctly for your season. There is someone in your life who needs exactly this message right now. Someone who has been striving more than everyone around them and still sees the door remain closed. Someone who has been walking in silence in a way no one around them can explain. Someone whose face just appeared in your mind as I spoke. Send this to that person, not as a recommendation, but as a delivery, a notice that the union they seek has also been approved. Before this ends, type the words, "I am the chosen one," in the comments. Not as a wish, not as a hope, but as a confirmation. The agreement that has been forming in silence between heaven and your hearing is an agreement you will live by for the rest of this season. Type slowly. Let your fingers do what your spirit is already doing. You feel the weight of an expectation you cannot name, a presence that hovers over your life like a promise that has finally found its address. You have been striving, carrying burdens that were not even yours, and walking down roads that seemed to lead nowhere. But the truth is, your isolation was not a punishment. It was your time of preparation. You have been in intensive training for what is about to enter your existence, even though you do not yet know the name of that event. Imagine your life as an old courtyard. For a long time, you worked on it in silence. You removed the rubble of the past, swept away the dry leaves of disappointments that no longer had life, and repaired the walls that fear had built. You did not know why you were doing this. You just felt you needed to keep the space clean, organized, ready for something you could barely glimpse. There were days when you wondered if all this care was in vain, if that courtyard would remain empty forever. Yet what you did not understand is that every gesture of care, every moment of silent waiting, was what made the soil fit for the visit that has already been approved. The courtyard is now ready. The ground has been leveled by your patience. The doors you kept locked for so long no longer need padlocks, because what is coming is not an invader. It is the guest of honor who knows every corner of your story. If this image of the finally renovated, clean and waiting courtyard touched the deepest place in your being, if you feel that your renovation has come to an end, type the words "I am here" in the comments. Let this simple affirmation be your record of readiness. The act of writing these two words signals that you have ceased the search and begun the reception. Type and come back here to me. Now, the solution no longer requires you to chase after anything. You do not need to build, force, or convince anyone of anything. The union you have so sought has already been approved at the highest level, long before you were aware of it. The solution, at this stage, is just the unlearning of haste. It is the softening of your posture before life. It is the permission for what is yours to find its way to you without you having to give up your dignity or your rest. The effort was for the preparation. The rest now is for the harvest. It is not about deserving, because the love that approaches does not look at your successes or failures. It looks at your ready courtyard. You no longer need to carry the tools in your hands. Put them aside. Take a deep breath with me. Stay with this absolute certainty that by stopping fighting for what already belongs to you by right, you open the space necessary for the approval to manifest. What you have lived until now was the foundation. What approaches is the structure that will sustain the rest of your days. There is no more need to watch the door with distrust, because the union that presents itself brings with it the peace that surpasses all understanding and the security you have always dreamed of finding in the soul of another. Perhaps you still do not have words for it, but something inside you has moved, and I came to tell you what it was. You carry a question that no one around you has been able to answer, and now you will hear the answer. You have been striving more than the people around you, and yet the door has not opened. There is a reason. By the end, you will recognize the signs that have been appearing in your life and what they really mean. You will understand the single pattern that has been blocking what you so seek. And before it ends, there is a declaration I will speak directly about your life, for this is the reason this message has reached you. You have been feeling waves of sudden peace in moments of chaos. Conversations that used to be normal now sound empty, and there is a silent certainty that something has changed, even though nothing visible has transformed. This is not restlessness. This is calibration. The distance from your old habits is alignment, and the hour you wake up so often in the middle of the night is an invitation. If at least one of these signs touched you, if your shoulders dropped at some point in the last few minutes, type the number 888 in the comments. It is the smallest agreement, but it is real. What you have been operating without knowing is a defense mechanism that has become your own limit. You have been pulling ropes that are no longer attached to anything, confusing exhaustion with faithfulness. Imagine a courtyard that has been under renovation for years. You thought the noise, the dust, and the isolation were the final state of your home. But in truth, all of this was just the preparation of the ground. The courtyard needed to be cleaned to receive the visit that was already promised. This love that has fallen in love with your destiny is not something you need to conquer with effort. It is the owner of the house who has finally finished the work. Type and come back here to me. You carry the mark of a recognition that no one around you has been able to name, and that is why you feel an inexplicable weight every time you try to explain what you are living. You have been striving more than the people around you, trying to fill spaces with competence, with zeal, with silence, and yet the door seemed locked. There is a clear reason for this. You were not being ignored. You were being kept for a union that God has already approved. You will understand the single pattern of exhaustion that has been blocking your rest. And before it ends, we will have a sealed declaration about your life that is the real reason this message has found you today. Many times, your intuition has fired, warning you that what you seek is not far, but right there behind a mist that only you can see. You have been feeling waves of sudden peace in the middle of a busy routine, as if someone were whispering your name in an empty room. You have noticed that conversations with those who once understood you now sound distant, as if you are on a frequency they have not yet reached. You wake up in the dead of night and feel a presence, a certainty that something has fundamentally changed. Even though your physical world seems identical to yesterday, it is the smallest agreement, but it is real. The diagnosis is simple, though it has been painful to maintain the disguise for so long. You have been operating under the belief that you need to earn your place, that your union with what is good depends on your effort or your perfection. You have presented yourself for years to an audience that was never paying attention, because your true audience, your true encounter, was being prepared in a chamber that only God accesses. Imagine now an old courtyard in a house you always knew was yours, but which for years was under constant renovation. You lived on the outside, looking at the closed windows, thinking the owner of the house did not want your presence. You felt like a stranger in a place that was made to receive you. But the renovation was not to push you away. The renovation was to build the room where you would finally have the rest you always sought. The courtyard was being cleared of all the weeds of your history, of all the memories that no longer served what is to come. Now, the courtyard is ready. The door is not just unlocked, it is being held open by a hand you know, even though you cannot see it. Type and come back here to me. You no longer need to run to prove your worth, because the approval you so sought in human eyes has already been given by a much deeper gaze. The solution to this restlessness you carry is not a new effort, not a new search, and not a new path. The solution is the unlearning. It is allowing your being to simply settle into the certainty that the union you felt as a distant promise is already a reality acting in your present. When you stop trying to build what has already been built, you realize that peace is your natural state, and that everything that was blocked was just the noise of your own insistence. Take a deep breath with me now. Let this consciousness descend through your shoulders, releasing the tension you have accumulated for so long. Not as a metric, but as a deep agreement that what was named here is the truth about your journey. Send this to that person now, not as a wish nor as a hope, but as the definitive confirmation. The feeling that you are being watched over by something benevolent is not a hallucination. It is an awakening. There are signs you have noticed, but you prefer not to name for fear of seeming strange to those who live only on the surface of things. You have been waking up at specific times, almost as if an internal clock were being synchronized with a frequency that does not belong to this hurried plane. If you felt this change, this constant call that seems to come from within your own soul, it is because the invitation has been made. It is the smallest agreement, but it is real. You have been striving, trying to open doors that in truth were never designed for your entry, while what truly belongs to you was being prepared in silence. Your loneliness was not abandonment. It was a period of calibration, so that you would have the capacity to bear the weight of the blessing that is coming. You are no longer in the time of seeking, but in the time of reception. The diagnosis that you prepared yourself for what is to come, even without knowing its name, is the key to understanding why so many things did not happen before. What you lived was the clearing of the ground. Imagine a courtyard that has been under renovation for years, where the dust of the rubble prevented any beauty from blooming, but which now, under the gaze of the one who designed every stone, is ready to be inhabited. You are that courtyard. Every disappointment you carried was just the removal of an old structure that could not support the glory of the union that was approved for you. You are the place where peace has decided to make its home. There is no more need to watch the horizon with anxiety, for the one you await is already walking through the courtyard you now occupy with your own presence. Let this recognition seal the place where the truth has just landed. Type now, and come back here to me for what still remains to be revealed. You do not need to build anything, you do not need to prove anything, and you should not strive to deserve what has already been delivered to you. The solution is not in seeking, but in allowing. Like someone who finally puts down their work tools after a long journey, you can simply open your arms and receive what heaven has already approved. It is a movement of total surrender, of taking the weight off your shoulders and allowing the current of grace to carry you to the place where you should always have been. Take a deep breath with me now. Feel the lightness this recognition brings to your chest. Not as a metric, but as a silent agreement that what was named here was named correctly by the authority that dwells within you. Send this to that person now. You are committed, you are sent, you are being led. Right now, all over the world, other people are receiving this same recognition and awakening to the same union you have just embraced. You are part of something that does not announce itself with noise, and that is exactly why it is real. Attention!
There is a truth sealed by God for millennia, hidden until the end of times. It's no coincidence you are here. The signs are everywhere, and few are ready for this revelation. If you've ever felt that restlessness, that there's something deeper in the scriptures, this book is your key. But know this is the time. And the Vault of the Chosen reveals what God sealed for you. Within it, the 7 seals unveil the truth about being a chosen one and the eternal impact of this revelation. And the proof is here. Look how many minds are freed. Yours could be next. Secure your access now. Click the link in the comments or description and unveil these truths.